Let's begin.
And
Hello, gentlemen, merry men. Hello. Welcome back to Dungeons and Dragons this week. We will kick things off quickly. The last session, you guys finished the den of deadly displacer beasts and settled in for a long and quiet day. That night, Ponsky was placed in his cage, and you all moved away a little so as to not get caught if he did cause too much noise, which thankfully he didn't. Baishal asked Felix for a platinum coin and snuck off to perform some ritual at night. He was caught by Oramis, but you left him to his business. He said it was something that he felt connected him to his brothers and sisters, as well as the being he follows. The next morning, you awoke early to Nasir's call. It was time to head over. Unfortunately, stealth was not your friend this morning. You were caught on the road by a group of cultists, but they were quickly dealt with before any more could be alerted. It seems a great number of inquisitors were headed to the coast, and so Nasir has fulfilled his end of the bargain. You made it to the river mouth, and can now see the opening of a cave, wherein lies the Temple of Vecna, or so you believe, where you are to meet Nasir and take down Rashak together. However, it is guarded by 2 guards, as well as something lurking in the water. What that is, you're not quite sure, but you saw a strange fin just sort of rise from the water. Carmen proved his swimming speed and stealth capabilities by swimming up close to the group, and you all in turn moved closer to investigate. Mazzy popped his spell, Pass Without Trace. Thank you. In order to help you move over, and that is still active. And it's here we pick up the action. The cultists had just spoken to each other, commenting on how weird it was they were being left here with this creature. They had confidence, as it was Rashak's pet project, you could say. They said it had quite the temper, but being in the water seemed to calm it down. As you all sort of like sit here and wait, there's obviously like there's the jungle all around you. There's still like the buzzing of flies and the sort of like strange birds like cawing and hooting all around you. But otherwise it's fairly silent. What would you like to do? Let's start with the main group first. What would all of you guys like to do?
There's something in the water.
There is something in the water.
Obviously in the water, like trackable.
Big pond over here. You can make me. It's been a few moments since you last saw it. Some people with quite high pass perceptions saw just like a large fin emerge from the water. You can all, if you're trying to look for it, you can sort of like move around to the sides and try and make a perception check to see. But I will also need a stealth check to sort of poke your head round without being seen. You'll get a bit of an advantage from the cover, but with the stealth check as well. But
there's 2 cultists, and they look like they're not inquisitors or anything. They're just the weak.
No, they're just regular. They're just regular dudes.
Chance.
Yeah, regular dudes. One of them looks to be a Goliath.
Can you see this guy on the right from behind where we are?
No, he's blocked by. You could hear him, but you can't quite see him. He's blocked by this large amount of debris and rubble that came from the castle way up high. Obviously, like you can see a lot of like debris and stuff fell from the castle and created this scene in front of you here. The one on the left, the guy on the left, seems to be like a Goliath-looking dude. Lots of like creepy tattoos all over his body, but it seemed like poisoned skin, like with like blisters and skin that's almost got like this bark texture on one hand. So you can tell he's of the green draconic variation of cultists. The other you're not quite sure.
These guys are in our way. Just gonna start blasting. Well, I think Felix, you can hit one of them and I can hit the other if we get into positions. Mazzy can shoot as well, so.
Yeah.
And then I imagine Oramis can hit with an Eldritch Blast, so.
Yeah.
Oh, Oramis, why are you all the way back there?
Magic stuff, that's why.
Oh. Can you magic stuff your way up here, please?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so if Mazzy and I aim for the one on the left, and then...
Why did you pull a new token? Just move the one I made for you up. Yeah, sure. So if you
And then, but if Felix and Oramis, if you get into a position where you can see that guy on the right, and then we'll try and time it so that we get them both. And then whatever's in the pool, we don't have a shot on it. So
If we can take these guys out relatively quickly, we could maybe sneak past whatever that is if it doesn't attract too much attention.
It's a fish.
If we go to, I think these guys are weak, so we should be able to deal with them. If we all hit,
sea creature.
yeah, we've sent in our water specialist to deal with their water specialist. It's all good.
Yeah. All right. So you guys are gonna be aiming up and firing. Before you guys do that, Carmen, what are you doing? You are underneath the water, very much like a crocodile, just like underneath the water. Your tail is sort of pushing you against the current of water that's pulling away from you. Your armor is light, and you're obviously very, very agile in the water. You're being very, very stealthy at the minute. You have no idea what the other group's doing, but you're swimming. What would you like to do?
I lay claim to these waters.
How do you do that? Does it suddenly get warm around you?
Yeah,
Nice.
it does. It does. I've been holding it in for a while. I just didn't mention it to the group because we were on a mission. This is the
Now,
real,
in the critical moment, you've decided this is the time.
this is the real reason I got in the river. It wasn't tactical advantage, no. So
Guys, I haven't heard any of your characters say they've needed the toilet in the entire time I've been playing. But here we are. Ryan's already taken a piss.
oh wait, how did I discount?
Or I just assumed the constant terror was keeping everyone's bowels empty.
That's fair. That's fair.
I just move up.
Move up there?
Sneaky.
All right. Can you make me another stealth check if you're moving up?
Yes, where is? Here it is. Oh,
You're in a really shallow river, and half of your body is actually out of it.
Well,
But
yeah.
you think
so,
you're doing fine.
So here's the thing: as the water moves past this point, there is a little. It's almost like a little bit like rapids, and it does go up a little bit. And you do find you have to slightly climb out of the water to maneuver over some rubble, and there's also this smell in the water. This
someone
hot,
else has already pissed in here.
putrid smell. No, it's not. It's not the smell of piss. It's more like extreme BO and like almost like an animal carcass type.
Basically like you've walked into CEX on a busy Saturday.
Oh,
Yeah.
good God.
God.
Like you've walked into
That paints
CX
a real clear picture.
Yeah, tell you what, yeah, like you've walked into CX on a busy Saturday and everyone's brought their pet.
And it's raining.
That is almost exactly the smell. Yeah, and it's raining. That is actually exactly the smell I want you to know. And you're slightly concerned about getting closer as this smell has been getting stronger and stronger as you've moved up. And you do worry that if this smell wasn't out of the water, and if you come in any closer, you're worried that, well, if you can smell whatever's in the water, maybe it can smell you. You're not sure. Everyone else, you don't notice this coming, but everyone else notices someone go, well, there's something shiny in the water. I think I might have seen something. Hold on. And this guy, well, both of them start sort of like slowly just moving up about 5-10 feet. Just
Yes, good. Clement, lure them to where we're hiding.
they're both sort of just gonna be like, should we get it out?
I'll
See what it is first.
be holding a firebolt, but wait for the call from Felix and Oramis for when they can actually see their guy.
That's 2, and that's a 3. They still can't see anything. They notice with their passive perception something's in there, but upon further investigation, they're like, I can't see anything. All right.
Can I see the guy?
Can you see? I mean, you have
Can
to.
Felix and I see this guy here, the blue guy? I'm guessing.
That guy over there. You have to wait for him to pull a little bit closer.
Okay.
So he would pull about there. Carmen, I'll allow you one more stealth check. 17. That's a lot better. You managed to. So maybe you can you have really really good perception. Maybe you can hear people moving closer, and you try and duck yourself beneath the waters. Everyone else, yeah, you see this guy turn the corner. No, nothing really here. The pass of that trace keeping you guys very very well. Pretty well thing from this distance. You can now see the guy, and if you want to, you can take him out. Roll to hit.
Fire the missiles.
Fire the missiles.
Pew pew.
Is this with advantage because we're hidden?
This would be with advantage because you are hidden. Yes.
Excellent.
$22. Roll the damage. 21 damage. You turn around the corner, fire off this firebolt, and it just sort of hits the guy straight in the chest. Falls back, and he's very, very quickly gone.
And then, for some reason, Oramis shoots his corpse 3 times.
Hey, just making sure.
Yeah.
Double tap.
Well, actually, 12, 15. Your shots, Oramis, just go slightly wide and just sort of go into the forest. But it's kind of good the guy was already dead because...
They would have hit, except he was already on the ground.
Yeah. That guy's definitely gone.
And that's me on the guy on the left.
I won't bother rolling for Mazzy.
And much like the other one, your guy sort of gets hit sort of in the shoulder, spins around in the air briefly before landing with a now very, very burned and ashen shoulder. His clothes just slightly smouldering before dying.
That's as good as the firebolts are going to get, JJ. So enjoy it while it lasts.
I mean, yeah.
So pessimistic. A firebolt could be 6 better.
It could, and it could be a whole lot worse.
It could, yeah. Yeah, we've rolled some good rolls there.
Very good rolls. These guys are now taken out. Kaiman, you would definitely see. You're very, very high passive perception. You were definitely sort of almost looking up, and you just see this red streak, and then this purplish, these 3 purplish streaks just go over your head, and then you would almost feel on the ground something maybe thump a little ways away. You assume your friends are doing something. What is the plan now? You've taken out the 2 guards out front. No one has seemed to notice your.
Nothing in the pond.
You can make another perception check to see if you see anything in the pond.
No.
No. You look at it and you sort of look out and go, no, I can't see it. Must have just been, I don't know, some fish. It's probably sleeping.
Are we all aware that there is something there to be aware of?
Yeah.
Even okay.
Yeah. You had a pretty decent passive perception, and I believe you rolled a perception check to see last time, and so you guys definitely saw something in the pond up there.
Okay.
With
Mazzy's pass without trace, I propose we just try and sneak quietly past this thing.
Yeah, sounds good to me. It's not our aim, so.
Yeah.
We just run over and sort of alert Kaiman to get him out of the water before he maybe gets too close, and then all group up and try and sneak past this thing.
What's your passive perception, Felix?
My passive perception is 16.
You have no idea where Kaiman is.
Well, I know he's in the water. Can I go and actively look for him?
You know he's in the water, yeah. Yeah, sure. If you're breaking out to go into the water, to go look around the water, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm fine enough to say you spend a little bit of time just going into the water. Eventually, you do see these small hands just sort of wading through the water trying to find you, and the small figure of Felix just on the edge of the water. You can get up out of it and follow your friend if you would like to. What would you like to do, Kaiman?
It's summer camp all over again. I'm not allowed to play around in the water. Yeah, so I've decided I don't want this river anymore. It smells. So I do leave.
The river smells.
Yeah, awful. Something rancid. Kind of like when it's your turn to cook breakfast.
Ah.
Ouch.
Cool.
He's a fine crafter, Felix, but not a fine cook.
Can I make some sort of nature check to see if I know of anything that would make water rancid by dwelling in it?
Yeah, sure. Roll me a nature check.
24.
Oh, 24. That's a very good nature roll. Yeah, so you are aware that whatever this creature is that's in there, it must be pretty big to have an effect on the water. And you think the smell he was smelling was sweat from this creature getting caught up in the water and being carried, as well as maybe bodily functions and other such things that are in the water. It must be pretty big for, especially with the current, for him to smell it that strong. Whatever it is. But I mean, there's lots of creatures that are quite big, potentially here.
Okay. It doesn't spark any specific.
No. I mean, it's very, very general. Like big creature lying in the water.
Yeah, like any number of big things in the water could potentially. There's not like one specific thing. Okay, cool. That's fine. I just wanted. And then
we know so much more than we did before. I'm glad we did that.
Absolutely.
I'm running up to the cave.
Yeah, all move up.
You're just running up, or is everyone moving up?
Well, I think we'll move as a group.
All right. I'd like everyone to make stealth checks on that.
Oh, I'm really good at these.
Still have Mazzy's plus 10.
18.
20.
26 from Felix.
Oh yeah, Nathan's
38 from Massey.
Oh yeah.
Jesus Christ, Mazzy. Jesus Christ, Mazzy. Alright, let me look up this thing's perception. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. There we go. What's your... Oh no, you've only got +1. That's interesting. Alright. So, you guys begin moving up towards the edge of this area. I'll tell you what, as you're moving up, anyone who would like to make me another perception check because you're coming in close to this place.
Yeah, I'd like to potentially get an advanced warning if there is.
I was looking at the wrong sheet. Okay, it does have a somewhat decent one. I did check that, but didn't need help. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see with the very, very murky water. It's very hard to see, but whatever you can see in there is big. It's like this huge just patch of darkness. And you almost think the top of it looks like some kind of big reptile. Entirely sure, like a very big reptile. But there's also, you can see sort of on the top of the water, sort of flowing with the water as if like it's sort of being carried up, looks like hair. A reptile with like regular sort of like dark hair that's sort of like floating on the top of the water above its head.
Does Kaiman have any hair?
Kaiman does not have any hair.
Oh. Kaiman, look, it's a more evolved version of you.
And as
I whisper because we're being stealthy.
And as you guys go past and get to around sort of here, you just see this snout emerge from the water. You think maybe it hasn't fully spotted you, but you think maybe if you guys don't do something, it's definitely caught the scent of something. And if you guys don't do something quick, it may emerge to try and find what it is it's caught the smell That doesn't necessarily mean you have to attack it, divert it, put it to sleep, move quicker. Entirely up to you. But
Yeah, can we just still try to move past it? This is a very obvious waterfall down, isn't it?
yeah.
So it's not like you couldn't swim up it.
No. Yeah.
I say we just move up here then.
Yeah. All right. I'll require one more stealth check from the group.
Still with Mazzy's pass without boop.
Still with Mazzy's pass without trace. Yeah.
Oh, 16.
27
Good.
and 28 from Felix and Mazzy, respectively.
You get, as you begin to slowly move up the stairs, this large sort of reptilian snout that almost follows you. But then as you get further and further away, and not closer, almost like it was like hoping it would get closer. As you get further away, it's almost like your scent dies away and it just goes back underneath the water, and you hear this, like, and you hear and see this just like large, like just gathering a bubble that emerge from the water as it goes back down. And there's nothing. It sits quiet and calm beneath the water.
Let's head into this cave.
You got very, very lucky. Rolled a 15 on his perception check. But yes, you can head into the cave, sneaking around past. It's not on the map, but there is like a little like wooden walkway just like around the left and the right so that people can get in. But you head
So
around.
does the water go down into the cave?
The water does indeed sort of go into the cave a small amount. And within the cave, you appear in a large cavern, about sort of like 50 by 50 feet. There is a very big pillar of stone in the center of the room. Small sort of like gathering, around that is sort of like where the water is sort of like pooled. A little bit almost like a moat around this like pillar of stone. And it like trickles off into some like smaller avenues and caves and stuff in and around the area. But on the far wall, there is a large opening. Within this main chamber, however, there are tables and chairs with some more mugs of water and half-eaten plates of food. It's clear this place was once defended by many more guards than there are now, thanks to Nessia's intervention. The opening is a carved square tunnel, about 20 feet wide and 20 feet tall. Around the edge of the tunnel are patterns that have long faded to unrecognizable bumps and symbols in the wall. But there is one symbol at the top that you can recognize. It's not very... It's very, very easy to recognize. It's a sort of like oval with a circle shape within the middle. You think it sort of looks like an eye. A very, very ancient, very, very old sort of eye shape. You think this must be the entrance to the temple, the vault of Vector's Eye. On the right of this wall, there is a sort of like tall banner with a long paragraph of text written down it, and there are like almost like mats, almost like prayer mats in front of it, with one large bowl similar to ones you've seen before, with like Tiamat's symbol written within. Almost like people prayed in front of this large banner. And written on the banner, it says, "Mighty Tiamat, chromatic goddess, mother of all, from whom all life did flow. I stand before you in awe and reverence, seeking your guidance in this world below. With scales of shimmering chromatic hue, you represent the chaos from which we came, a symbol of creation and destruction. For you, I utter this sacred flame. Tiamat, queen of dragons, hear my prayer. Guide me through the depths of the unknown. In your name, I find my inner power, and in your essence, my true self is shown. Grant me the strength to face life's trials like your fierce storms upon the ancient sea. Help me embrace the chaos and the order. In your wisdom, may I find clarity." Like a large, almost like prayer banner, basically. So that is pretty much all this in this room, other than this large opening that you can see ahead of you. In this opening, it is very, very dark. There is one light, you think maybe like 90 to 100 feet, way down the way, and that is like a small torchlight. there is almost like a small like crate box filled with torches, as if like people are expecting it to be dark down here, so they just like fill this crate box with like torches and stuff. And you can see a small makeshift sort of like railing or like rail on the right hand side where there is like this cart with lots and lots of like stones and stuff in it, as if people have been like digging up stones, putting them in this cart, and then moving them back here to sort of excavate them up away. Well, what would you like to do?
So it's just one exit.
Yeah, there's just this one long passageway in this cave.
And did you say it was lit or poorly lit?
It is completely dark except for one like small torchlight flickering about 60 to 100 feet down.
Is it just like attached to? Is it like a sconce?
Yeah, like a sconce in the wall.
And nothing beyond that.
Beyond that, your dark vision doesn't let you see that far, and beyond that, as far as you can see from this like little flickering torch, just more corridor.
So, I mean, do we head down?
Yeah, the only way is down.
Is anyone lighting anything? Obviously, it is like some of you are dark vision, but for the rest of you, it would just be pitch black through this entire corridor.
Mazzy would probably light up something so he could see. He's got produce flame, so he'd probably hold a little ball of fire or something like that, so at least he could see.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, makes sense. Mazzy just produces a little flame in his hand to walk along. Anyone else?
Nathan can take a little torch as well. I think a couple of lights is enough.
Yeah. Sounds good. Nathan takes a little torch with, he'll just like light it on Mazzy's produced flame, and like they're already like these torches have been prepared. They've already been like doused in what looks like and smells like a sort of like tree wax or certain wax or oil or something. And yeah, he just takes it. It lights and catches very very quickly. These were clearly prepared recently by people, potentially cultists going back and forth in and out. And yeah, with a couple of people, a couple of lights, you're somewhat well lit, and you begin making your way down. It is a long, sort of carved stone pathway. It is perfectly square, as I say, 20 feet by 20 feet. And on the walls to the left and the right, you can see sort of like carved over many like the stone bricks are almost like various depictions of eyes from different angles, eyes with different decorations in the iris or the pupil, some simple and almost like some very very simple and almost like Aztec sort of style or something like that, but then some are very very realistic, intricately carved as if by the best sort of Venetian architects you've ever seen. Lots and lots of eyes, and it's almost like weird as they're like staring you down as you go down the corridor.
Are there any more like torches and things along the way?
No. There is this one sconce down the way, and that is it. You make it to the sconce and find that there is like 10 feet of corridor, and then it opens out into a large open room. And in the middle of this open room is this strange, complicated, metallic, what do you call it? Well, like a large sort of metallic circular thing with a lever on it. There is no other way around, either way. But attached to this large metallic piece in the center is a large chain that goes up into the ceiling. And for those of you with dark vision, you would be able to see, sort of looking up at the ceiling, you can see that there seems to be lots and lots of sort of very, very old-looking mechanisms in the ceiling, as if this chain goes up and attaches to several like large wooden and stone spinning wheels and cogs from a time very, very long gone. And this chain sort of is, twists and folds around and probably is held up by some counterweights, though you're not exactly sure what they are.
Would this look like some sort of lift?
This does indeed look like some kind of lift. You're a tinkerer. You've certainly seen things like that, things similar to this. in some designs and things like that. Those look a little bit like a large stone lift. You think to get ahead, obviously you have to pull the lever. So you guys pulling the lever to head down.
Yeah, so the only way is down.
The only way seems to be down.
What happens? Does the water go into like a waterfall? Or...
No, the water doesn't pass through here. The water doesn't go down into this space. The water sort of like pools in that cavern and then goes off into like a smaller like waterway, like cavern down below somewhere. You didn't quite see where it went, but it just went off into darkness. There was no sort of indication of it going anywhere particular. It just sort of like pools in one section, and you think maybe that's quite deep, but you're good.
Okay. Does it look far down?
You can't see the edges of like the stone. Basically, the floor of the elevator goes right up to the edges of the wall.
Okay.
You can't exactly see down, so you don't exactly know how far down you'll be going.
Yeah, let's pull the lever.
All right. Do you guys go up?
Can I investigate the lever for traps? Sorry, is what I meant to say.
All right.
Just see if everything seems in order.
Okay. Roll me an investigation check.
16.
16. Yes, Sam. There does look to be some sort of tampering with it, almost like someone has carved something into the handle. Roll me an Arcana check.
Oh, 16 again. Are you joking?
Just need to check the level of it. Yeah, 16. Yeah, you would recognize this as a glyph of warding. Someone had carved this sort of like into the handle or cast this onto the handle of this thing. You imagine pulling this. Probably going to hurt if you don't pass a save.
Glyph of warning or a glyph of
warding.
Okay. Oramis, I think you should have the honour of pulling this lever. I want to see if he actually does it.
Okay.
And as he gets about to do it, I'll say, "Don't touch it." Actually, that's a terrible idea. It's got a glyph on it. There you got you there.
All right. Trying to kill me?
I'm trying to kill you.
What a joke.
I can cast a spell magic, but that feels like a waste of a 3rd level spell slot.
Could we just back up and set it off from a distance?
Yeah. What did you? Glyph of warding, Ben? Did you say? Or...
Yeah, glyph of warding.
Oh, okay. I thought you said warning, so I thought maybe a give up that would come in, but I guess not. So yeah, I can just get Mazzy to hit it. He's good at hitting small things.
Yeah. Like what? You just like shoot an arrow at it?
Yeah, back up like 60 feet down the tunnel and 61 feet down the tunnel.
Let me just read. Good.
And we find out it's a targeted thing, and actually it still affects Mazzy no matter how far away he is from it.
It's fine. He's a tough cookie. He'll carry on.
Yeah, Mazzy's like pulls his arrow up. He's like, yeah, sure, all right. Ping. Arrow fires off. Taps against the side of the lever. Nothing happens. Ping.
Maybe it's activated when the lever's pulled. Can we pull the lever from a distance? Like.
Is anyone got mage hand?
I can put it from 30 feet away. I'll put it from 30 feet away.
Alright. You reach out your mage hand, grab it, pull it. How heavy can your mage hand pull?
Like an 8, maybe a 9 on a good night. It's not much. I think it's £5.
It's 10, I believe, for mage hand.
The hand can't attack activate magic items or carry more than £10. Yeah, £10, which is not a lot.
Alright. Yeah.
It's 4 kilograms actually. That's more than I thought it was.
I just looked that up, and my weight's next to me, and I just checked 4 kilograms. A bit heavier than I thought, actually, so I'll allow it. Your mage hand goes up, grabs it, and it does take a little bit of like concentration from you to get like it's right on the top of that 10-pound thing, but it does pull it, and then you suddenly just see this like, yeah, what would it be? It would be, yeah, so you watch as the runes on it sort of glow bright green, and then there's just this bright green liquid just splash in about sort of like 20-foot radius. So just like a 20-foot radius thing all around. This acid sort of pools on the floor, pulls over the metal, but it doesn't seem to corrode the metal. It's strange. It doesn't seem to corrode it at all, but it just sort of like pulls over it, slides off of it almost really, really quickly, and then just sort of sits on the ground before eventually just like almost like stepping into the stone a little bit, like just sort of like melting its way slightly into the stone to create these small like, little like puddle things of acid, very, very bright green acid. But you think it's gone off, and upon further inspection, you can see there is now no more markings on the thing. And as you pulled it, you hear this. And
all aboard.
There is this extremely loud, like it's like cacophonous in this stone room, like all the sounds vibrating, reverberating off the walls. All this machinery and all of this stuff above you just slowly spinning and turning, and eventually you begin to go down. You go down quite slowly, maybe sort of, maybe about sort of like 30 feet per round if you were to imagine it that way, so like about as fast as you could like walk. But you do go down. And you end up going down for quite a while, actually. You're waiting there for about 30 seconds, a minute, 5, 10, and you just see the small light of the like sconce above you in that small like corridor that's like right on the edge of it just slowly get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer until eventually it's just like a small speck way up high above you.
This must have taken fucking ages for them to mine if they had to go up and down this lift with a single cart every time.
Well, yeah, you think so? And you go down and down, and that is actually a very, very good point. You can see lots of like mine carts around this area. Let's say, yeah, like with like stones and stuff, and like large, like anywhere between like large and small stones, just piled up in lots of like carts on like wheels and stuff. Some of them more like shoddily made than others. You get the sense that these are either very, very hastily made or are extremely old. And yeah, there's many of them around, and eventually, after about sort of 5-10 minutes, you do sense you're someone going to the bottom. Is there anything anyone would like to do in this 5 or 10 minutes, or are you just standing with your lights?
Have a word with Wyshal, ask him how his ritual went last night, or his ceremony, or whatever it was.
Yeah, he's not really focused on you at the present minute. He does take a second to sort of try. Yeah, good. Yeah, went about as good as it does every month. It was refreshing. It was nice.
When you're able to make
feel
contact
connected
with people.
It's not really. It was more of a prayer. It's not. No.
Can I insight check this motherfucker? Because he's absolutely a rat.
I guess not. Yeah, sure. Yeah, make an insight check.
Oh, god damn it.
He's a hard guy to read, and you you get the sense that he's certainly trying to get his words right. But you don't know if he's trying to get them right in a sense where he's trying to explain it properly, or if he's trying to hide something. You're not sure. So I guess it's whatever Gylndan thinks. But he's just sort of like, It's more of a prayer, really.
Yeah,
And,
you're a man of faith. It's not something I'm familiar with.
I guess you could say that. Yeah. Yeah.
I tend to put my stock a little bit more in things I can understand.
Usually, me too. But being as far away from my brotherhood and sisters as I am, I've tried to be a little more open with it, and given some responsibilities, and given, I guess you could say, a responsibility we have, all of us now, going down here, facing what we're facing. I thought I'd try and be a little more open with it.
Where are you from normally, if you're not from this part of Ambyr?
Oh, have you ever heard of this place called the Echoes Canyon? It's in Titan, quite a way away.
I've travelled a little bit in Titan, but I probably don't think I've heard of that.
Make me a history or nature check. We're fairly high DC. Isn't
They
very
are
well
both the same. 13.
Yeah, you ain't heard of this place.
Fair enough.
Yes, it's well, it is a mite warmer than this. But it's quite far away, and that's where my brothers and sisters are right now, and I'm missing them. Particularly now, it's a lot brighter than this too. This is all very, very weird. But yes, it was nice to feel connected to them, to the one I pray to.
Sorry, just to interrupt, because we're all on the same platform. I can't help but hear your conversation. Who is it you're praying to?
The one I pray to, Melora, of course, goddess of nature.
An eye insight check
Really?
that.
Individual, after all. Yeah, sure.
14.
Oh, god damn it.
It's not a bad roll.
Yeah. Oh wait, let me. One moment, please.
Un minuto, por favor.
Un minute, por favor. Yeah, you, Felix, definitely get the sense there was a bit too long a pause for a man of faith who literally prayed to the person last night. Once this starts out going, he's not a very good liar.
Okay. I'm gonna let it slide for now.
Okay.
We kill him while we can all jump on him.
Oh, this is the NPC you want to just jump and kill, is it?
Well, I mean, there's several. I think if we start attacking by shell, I'm 95% sure Oramis would accidentally kill Ponsky. Oh, he died. It was a misfire. Sorry, friendly fire. Hate it when that happens.
Hey, to be fair, I think Ponsky was a misfire anyway.
Ouch. And then who else is here? I mean, Nathan would probably just catch a stray bullet and die. We'd get down there and they'd be waiting for us, and Rashak and Nasir would be like, "Oh, you've done half the job for us."
Well, yeah. Is anyone else doing anything? I mean, is anyone else making an insight check on that, or anyone?
If you allow me to, I'll make one.
I mean, yeah, sure. You were a part of the conversation. You were certainly curious of him. I will.
Oh god damn it! Can I just roll above a 10?
To be fair, like I said with the 14, Felix knew he's maybe hiding something. He's not in this moment been a very brilliant liar. You get the sense that he is somewhat afraid of where they're going. So him trying to come up with things on the fly, it's not his forte. So suddenly being surprised by all these questions, he's maybe not been the best liar in this moment.
Okay, unlike Felix, I'm not going to let it slide. And I'll just say, you don't seem very sure about
No. Well, it's
Can I
it's a little
can I give
complicated.
him a look that tries to convey, I have also seen through his lie, and now Gylndan's posed a question, just like,
Yeah.
Can I persuade him to just tell the truth?
How would you like to persuade him to tell the truth?
I would just say, listen, man, we're gonna go into some real shit right now. We really need to know what's going on with you. We need to know that we can trust you, or if you're gonna cause us a problem.
You know what, Luke? That actually pleasantly surprised me. I and as a reward, make a persuasion check.
Come on, let's go, boys. Can't wait for this to fail.
I thought you were going to start rolling Eldritch Blast, if I'm going to be honest.
that's
Oh,
a
that's only a
shocking roll
21.
for you.
You know it's an
That
off
is
night
21.
when Luke's rolling that.
It's a 6. You
Thing
joking?
is, that's only a 21, but that's still.
I mean, as a
really
series of
good
rolls,
roll.
that's an
That is
8,
above-
8, 9, 6 from us.
All right.
Save it for the
I'm
combat.
gonna roll a bit of a check for Vaishal here.
Can I do it with a... Actually, it's not worth asking for advantage
Good
on that.
wits or not. Vaishal looks at you, sort of almost in this moment. It almost like clicks in his mind, like, "Oh yeah, shit, that maybe wasn't the best thing to say." And he sort of says, "I assure you, you can trust me. I am on your side. I helped face down a white dragon with all of you. Things are just, with everything going on, things are just very complicated, and explaining this isn't you can trust me. Know that you can trust me, and that for this cause I would lay down my life." I took an oath to.
I think we'd all like to trust you. We found you in a, certainly an unpleasant situation that certainly made it seem like you were no friends to these people, but it feels like you're hiding stuff from us, which makes it hard to do so.
As the elevator sort of still goes down, and there's just this awkward moment of silence, and the sort of cacophony of like the chains moving, just bouncing around the walls, and Vaishal just sort of like looks at each of you, says, "Look, there are things that cannot be spoken easily in these lands. Things that would get me in trouble. And you are all very quick to speak of trust when you," he looks at Gylndan, "have made a deal with a being who is clearly very powerful and clearly wants something very, very dark without consulting anyone. And you," and he looks at Oramis, says, "You know what you're hiding."
Oh. He's tickled your ballsack there, son.
I am exactly as I appear to be.
I know. It wasn't hard to deduce.
We don't know that Oramis is undead, do we?
You do not.
Oramis, what's he talking about?
I haven't got a clue, fella.
What are you talking about? I'll look at Vaishal.
Is this how it comes out?
I don't. You were all clearly very close. I don't think it's right for me to say. All I want to say is that I can promise with knight's honor you can trust me.
Nice honor. Hello.
Okay, well,
The question is,
first wrong move you make, I'll turn you into dust.
Did you pick up the disintegrate magic thing? Or have you
The
just
what?
got the spell?
I've got
Oh,
the spell.
we never found the disintegrate wand, did we?
Were we ever looking for it? I'm very confused.
You had a vision when we were facing the Black Talons.
Hmm.
You had a vision about the head of the Black Talons.
Oh, he had a staff that did
He had
it,
a
yeah.
staff, that's it.
yeah, he had
That's the one that Doc cut himself with and then somehow survived pandemonium.
Oh, yeah.
indeed.
But it's been found. I'm just not sure it's a good item to be attached to.
I believe it's in Pandemonium now.
Yeah, Gylndan wouldn't know it had been found at this point, I don't think.
Yeah, none of you guys would know if it found. That was technically like 2 days ago.
Doc probably in pandemonium at this point.
No, well, you guys wouldn't know. But Ben can tell you from DM to players, no. At this point, last night, there was a siege on the capital. So, you're not sure. But, yeah, Vaishal just sort of takes a look at each of you and just sort of says, I can trust you. No, you can trust me. Prove to me now that I can trust you. And maybe we can come to an understanding.
Can I check if I think we're being like listened in on magically in any way or anything like that?
Sure. How would you like to do that?
I don't know. So what he's done before? So what Nasir did before, where he sort of tapped into people's minds?
Roll me an Arcana check.
Can this be above a 10, please? Pretty please. Oh my god.
Yeah, you're not entirely sure. Sort of what Nasir was doing before. I mean, you can't see anything around you, and you don't feel him being intrusive on your mind. Like you were aware before, like I believe Felix and Oramis said, like it felt like someone was looking into their mind, and you don't feel like anyone's looking into your mind right now.
Okay. Right, I'll just say to him, no, the only people that are leaving today with what they want is us.
Ooh.
And he takes a look at you. Or roll again for him.
While he's doing that, can I sort of like study his tattoos and stuff and try and make like a religion check about those? And sort
Yeah,
of what
sure.
I remember about the various ones, because he's probably not topless as he has been frequently.
Yeah, no. I mean,
What have you been doing with it?
It has been very, very hot. He probably wrapped his poncho around his side or had it over his shoulder or something. So he's like pretty much topless right now with his all of his tattoos and stuff. Yeah, roll me a religion or history or nature or whatever.
Religion feels appropriate for this one.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there we go.
That's what we were looking for. So, you're looking around his tattoos, and so the ones on his front are obviously he's got like the seascape and the waves and the ocean and the mountains, and then beneath that he's got all the like the sea creature stuff, and like the large like sea dragon thing and the large sort of like sea octopus thing, and you know. And it's all very, very intricate and very, very cool. And as you're looking, and he notices you looking, he does like the octopus like slightly moves to look in your direction, and the dragon slightly like moves around his back, and then like around the other side as well. But the ones that don't move are the ones on his back. And as you're sort of like looking around, and God, there's something about that tattoo. The 7 birds all flying in a circle. something about that. You feel like you've maybe seen that. Like Felix is a guy who's looked into wizardry, looked into some old stuff. He was in just like this really, really old book. You were in a library. It was a very, very long time ago. There was something it said about canaries and their connection to religion, but this was an old book, and even that, you can't remember that if that had any connotations to any sort of god that people nowadays know about. But that certainly has connotations to something, no Malora, whatever it is.
Okay.
Like with the 25, you like in your mind, you're like, yeah, I've met people who know Malora, and they've never had anything so.
Yeah, so he's definitively not
Yeah, definitively.
following her.
Yeah.
He's following something very, very old is the conclusion I draw from that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something worse. Can you imagine?
Oh, it's so difficult to separate my knowledge from Felix's at some point. I hate it and I love it.
Here's the thing. Things are preventing him from being just straight up with you guys, but he does really, and you're going down to some very, very dangerous things. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to roll a d20. On a high roll, you guys get some info. On a low one, he holds his convictions.
On a middling one, Ben curses the dice.
I shall sort of takes a very, very deep breath out. A very, very deep breath out. And as the elevator eventually comes to a mighty cacophonous at the very bottom, he just says, fine. I will tell you this. I am a knight of an order that was long forgotten about. Person we serve, person we fight for, person the being whose ideals we follow, was slain many, many thousands of years ago, and I believe this individual has something to do with that being. My order, my people, my brothers and sisters, we're not allowed on Ambyr after things that have happened many years ago. The people don't trust us. And if I'm caught and found to be who I am, then I could be in some serious trouble. Not just with your people, but with mine.
Is this enough knowledge to think of something that's happened in history that he could be referring to? Or
I mean, you can take some guesses. There are many big things that have happened in history. Especially
no, but like with this specific sort of like a group.
The way he
also
talked.
referring to a god that was slain, but yet the order still lives, but he could be in trouble if you support it.
Lives.
The way he talks, it's like, it makes it sound like if people knew, if it was common knowledge what he was devoted to, then he'd be in trouble. So we could potentially hazard a guess what that is, because we would know the sorts of things that those sorts of groups that would be unwelcome.
I mean,
like if you go around certain parts of London declaring you support one football team as opposed to another.
I guess, like, as I've said, and as Felix knows, like the god aspect of it is very, very thing. But sure, you can make. I'll tell you what. No, you go to make a check and you start thinking of things. And he takes another deep breath and he just says, "Stand back."
No funny business here.
Okay.
No funny business. Just the truth.
Okay. I'm still going to light up a firebolt behind my back.
Yeah.
I'm
It's,
just gonna, yeah, I'm
it's
just gonna
very,
be
very
up
obvious as
on
in
it.
this extremely dark room there is something backlighting.
Oh, I farted it. I farted. Whoops. God damn it.
That only makes the fire bigger.
Yeah, I've set everyone on fire. Everyone make a deck save.
This is how Glyndon casts fireball canonically.
You all step back a few paces, and out of sheer curiosity, you see Mazzy sort of stand there. And he takes a second and he shuts his eyes. He goes, "Oh." Right as you see sparks begin to light over Vaishal's shoulders, lighting up the room around you in now like white light rather than the warm glow of fire. Another set, and then almost like this mist, this strange mist that drops and gathers at his feet and slowly begins to rise around him. In this mist, there are lights and sparks of light, and the mist slowly begins to envelop him. And you all take a step back as it sort of slowly spreads and spreads. And then you hear this rumbling. And the mist grows larger, and the lightning grows larger and larger. And then from the mists, something large appears. Large and shining, almost like it reflects the light of the lightning and the light of the flames. And then something else emerges from the top, like appendages, and then there's suddenly this big gush of wind that blows all the mist away. This final crackle of lightning just sort of like sparks and ebbs. And instead of the human man tattooed that you saw before you, you see a large, very large, bronze-colored metallic dragon. He has almost like fins, like watery fins, sort of like over the top of his head, stemming down. His wings go very, very wide and almost in like a triangle. So like they spread out, and then they don't go like back to the appendages on his wings. They go all the way out down to his tail. You almost think almost like a large like manta ray to help him swim. At the end of his tail, there's a large, there's a very, very large like fin, but it's almost like a fin to help him swim. His like claws and stuff are slightly webbed, and you can see he does have, similar to what he has, he does have this like almost like these like strange draconic tendrils that almost kind of look like a small like beard tuft on the bottom of his face, and you can see that his face basically goes in like these like horns that sort of splay back a little bit, like a like a triceratops has that sort of like shielded bit at the front. It's like a small version of that. You can see over his scales there is elements of like rust, where it's slightly green in places, but it still seems fairly shiny. And yeah, standing in front of you is Vaishal. He looks down.
What the fuck?
He looks down to you all and says, "Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess I'd better introduce myself again. My name is Vaishal, Knight of the Platinum Order. Me and my brothers and sisters serve a being that lived long ago called Bahamut. He died facing his sister Tiamat, a being I believe you are all intimately knowledgeable about. He was sadly slain, and after he
No, we
was...
killed Baphomet, Luke.
I was a different person with this very similar name.
Yeah, Baphomet's
Yeah.
like a demon.
But
Bahamut's a dragon.
Bahamut, you were aware because you helped Gylndan pick up that book about Tiamat and dragons and stuff. Bahamut was Tiamat's brother. They were created, the two of them. One from his blood, from Bahamut's blood, came metallic dragons. From Tiamat's blood came chromatic dragons.
Gotcha.
Generally, chromatic dragons are pretty good aligned people. Dragons, and generally, both can be evil, but Bahamut was a god way back in his day. You read of like goodness, and Vashal sort of says, Bahamut was a god of justice, righteousness, kindness. But his sister, in spite of him, slew him, jealous of his strength and the adoration his followers gave him. He, after his death, because there was no being to gain power from, many of our dragons and many people that supported him followed different beings, still doing good things, just to different gods. But my order, we have lived for thousands of years. We are very few now in number, but we still uphold his virtues and his ways. Even though we can glean no clerical power or power from oaths or godly insight from him, we uphold his tenets even after he is gone. It is how we remember him. However, you may not all know this. This is not common knowledge, but metallic dragons are not welcome in Ambyr. After the Dragon War, metallic dragons tried to come and foster peace. They tried to help rebuild, but your people met them with torches and pitchforks, swords and arrows. So they left. And the king of the time decided to make it a decree that no dragon would set foot on Ambyr soil again. Metallic, chromatic, any. That decree has not gone away. Whether it be due to forgetfulness or ignorance or believing that this land is better without dragons, I don't know. But from our canyon, we heard the tales of what was going on here, the demon attacks, everything, and I received the strangest vision of all of you guardians, fighting against a black dragon that wore the symbol of Tiamat. I tried to beg my brothers and sisters to leave the rules, to come here, to join me and fight, but they were too hung up on rules and regulations. They would not come with me. So I came alone, in my human disguise. We metallic dragons have this ability.
You want us to trust each other. I don't know any other way to say this apart from as bluntly as possible. I don't think Bahamut is dead.
He looks up, very curious. I'm pretty sure he is. there is very detailed records of its happening.
I'm not trying to argue with history, but I went into a very strange place with my friend Docomir, and I had a vision, very magically powerful vision. Was it in that library? Sorry, Ben.
Yeah,
It was.
yeah, it was.
And I saw him imprisoned by Tiamat, still not slain.
His eyes go wider than you've ever seen. Like, he then lowers his head. Like, he's about as big as Dazra, so he's not an ancient dragon. He's not necessarily in adulthood quite yet. He's sort of in that transition period from young to adult, but he's still very, very large. And he like peers his head down towards you, and then narrows his eyes, and he makes an and you'll fuck that play. Yeah. So he rolls a natural 20 on an insight check against you. And he looks at you and just peers his eyes and looks you up and down. I sense you're not lying to me. He could be. Well, this changes everything. If he is alive, if he is being held, and he sort of like goes into like existential crisis mode for a minute. Like there's too many thoughts in his head for him to possibly comprehend, and he just sort of like stands there stunned for a second.
Can I try and just like, I'll stare at him quite intently and try and bring his focus onto me and just say, I realize what I've just told you is, contradicts everything that you know, but it means nothing if we die here today. So I need you to focus, because we can only do this together.
Yes. Yes. Yes, you are. You are correct. This. Oh, my metallic dragons might finally. And he bursts into this uproarious laughter, which, amidst the very eerie place you're in, is a little bit of a warming presence as his laughter echoes about this massive cavern. And as he laughs, you see the lightning sort of like pulse all about him, and he slowly goes down and transforms down back into his human form, still laughing. And he's like, well, that has certainly changed my perspective on everything. But you are right, wizard. You are right. Gods and things can wait. Let's go fuck up a dragon, shall we?
Aye.
If I shall.
Maybe a wizard too.
Gylndan, your deal with Nasir seemed quite predicated on us being somewhat successful in the first instance. Vishal, are you more or less powerful as you are now? Now he's transformed back.
Well, as you have seen me do before, in most things we've done, instead of breathing, we bronze dragons, we summon lightning, and we breathe it. As a draconic form, I do breathe it, but as you have seen me do many times, instead of breathing lightning, I can just... And he makes, like, lightning sparks out of his fingers.
Good.
We can adapt. It is much harder for me to do spells in that format. I admit I learned druidic magic when in this form from a druid. It is hard for me to perform the necessary gestures and movements. So, I was probably thinking for the final fight to go big and punch a big dragon in the face. But I am at your service, I guess.
Okay. I'm
As he
just
sort
trying
of
to think,
slowly...
if the potential of a dragon on our side is potentially more persuasive. I don't really know much about Nasir to know what would persuade him, but I feel like a dragon would.
No, this is on our side if we're winning. That's all we need to know. So
Yes.
the bigger display we can put on, the better.
The earlier we can turn him, the better, I suppose.
Yeah, I would say waltzing in with Vaishal in his dragon form is one hell of a statement.
Okay. Which also means go in guns blazing, don't hold back.
Yeah. Let's move on.
I agree. Let's move, shall we?
Did you want to say?
Yeah, Vashal, do you know why they call us the Guardians?
Well, because you guard Ambyr. Everyone heard of the thing you did. Is it like lonely town, lone town?
Lone Hill.
Lone Hill. Thank you. Yes, wasn't there? I heard someone mention a play.
There is a fantastic play that you should check out once we're out of here. But
I've seen that play. It's not great.
how dare you?
You would.
Oramis, you would not be pleased by the actor they chose to play you. They didn't even get a real elf. They just stuck little bits of cardboard on his ears.
That's so offensive. No, that is just a cover story. The real reason we're called the Guardians is because we're guarding a hidden realm in the north of Ambyr that has the last surviving dragons living in it.
Felix's jaw just kind of hits the floor at this point.
Oh yeah, hey Felix.
There are dragons in Ambyr? I mean, more dragons in Ambyr?
There are.
Kaiman,
Because-
well, you have never heard this before, and I don't know how much Kaiman knows about dragons. I guess lizard folk don't really reveal them that much, but you definitely heard of them. But that would certainly be a surprise to you.
How many? How big are they? Are they friendly?
They are friendly, but they are understandably secretive due to the prejudice they've faced.
Only 3, aren't there?
There's 2 and a bit, isn't there? There's
An egg.
an egg.
Well, no, there's loads of eggs.
Oh, it just takes some time to hatch. There were 3.
They can take hundreds of years to hatch.
There was 3. Unfortunately, one died, but she still lives as an egg.
Yes, it was quite the ordeal. But
Very emotional.
So let me get this straight. Not only is my god alive, also the chromatics are still alive too.
Some, yes.
yeah, do you know
Who are you people?
the Guardians?
The Guardians.
This
It's
is
the question that I'm asking as well.
If I had a mic, I would drop it.
I came looking for people to help find my wife and kids. Now I've got a
Okay,
dragon
listen,
on
guys.
my side. We killed a dragon 2 days ago. Felix starts having an existential crisis.
Yeah, welcome
Pascal
to,
goes
welcome
to
to the
like
big
help
leagues,
you out, and
bitch.
then sort of has a little bit of his own. But he sort of like pulls himself together. We shouldn't get too distracted.
Yeah. Do you
I'd
know?
just very much like to meet these dragons.
Do you know Albus?
I would too.
Albers. Do you think all
Albus?
dragons know each other?
Well, you know, he's quite famous. He knows Rashak.
That is true. I am 100. Well,
Oh, you're a sprightly
little,
young thing.
little boy.
Yeah.
107 to be exact.
Oh, sorry.
I'm older
and
than you. Felix
Oh,
is
that
older
is
than
old.
Vaishal.
Well, this is very strange. The little gnome is older than the dragon. This is surely something. I say little gnome. I have seen you get much bigger than I can get to. So there's that. Anyway, should we get out of this very dark cave and
Yes.
go that way? And he points down, and as you guys are at the bottom, there is once again another like 20 by 20 foot opening. This time, once again, like maybe like 60 feet down the corridor. Well, actually, no. There's a sconce like right there, and then the next one's about 60 feet down the corridor, and there's maybe like the tiny, tiny dot of one, and a further 60 feet down.
Yeah, a little break.
Okay.
Take a little break.
After this all these stunning revelations
Indeed.
that are
I forget who
completely
knows
new
what, you know.
knowledge, and I totally bamboozled.
Indeed.
Felix never knew about the dragons in Ambyr at all.
Oh, well. Now you do, Felix, but you got to keep it a secret.
Okay.
It was a bit like I slapped Vaishal by telling him Bahamut's alive, and then he sort of turned to Oramis, and then Oramis slapped him by telling him that we've got a dragon sanctuary up north. Just beating him all over the place.
But then he slapped all of you by telling you that he was a dragon.
That's a bit
Yeah,
rude,
that's
actually.
true. That's true.
Have I got anything cool to reveal? No.
I
You
think
don't-
you're double the size I can usually.
You don't actually have a wife and kids would be a pretty cool reveal.
He is Rashak.
My wife is
Oh,
Rashak.
Ah,
If we'd have planned that shit would have been fire. If we'd
My
just
wife-
got down the bottom of the pier and been like, yeah.
My wife is Rashak. My child is Nasir.
can't imagine.
The-
That's
the
why you were
problem-
so moody with him, because he's your like angsty son that you don't get on with.
The problem is I would have taken too much pleasure in killing JJ. So,
Do we have to use my real
sorry,
name
JJ's
there?
character. Your character.
Anyway,
Alright.
I will see final hour in. So, after all these revelations and long conversations, you guys eventually make it to the, as I said, make it to the bottom of the elevator and continue down this long, dark path. Eventually, you're walking for a little while, and you were going down that elevator for about 10 minutes. So eventually, Nathan's torch burns out. Not particularly efficient, but his torch sort of burns out, and he's just stood there with a stick and like, oh, this doesn't help me. Throws it behind his head, hits Ponsky on the face.
Oh dear, Joe, we didn't know we needed.
But you all continue on with Mazzy's produce flame. Is anyone else producing a light at this point? Anyone else have any means of lighting up, or are you literally just...
Some of us can just see.
Well, yeah, some of you have dark vision and therefore can see, but dark vision only makes a dim light. So without that, it's black and white, and it's all very and it's like you can see out to about it's like, oh, I'm trying to think of what it's like being in a nightclub, It's like you can barely see stuff, but you can see enough of things.
In a nightclub, that's for the best, though, isn't it, really?
Or or
Yes.
when you're out and it's nighttime, but the moon's shining down, there's no clouds or anything like that, and you've got a somewhat decent view.
You can make out shapes of stuff.
Yeah, you can make out shapes of stuff if you have dark vision, that is. Otherwise, you're blindly following Mazzy, who's walking at the front, going weird. And he's sort of holding up his produce flame hand to things around him in the walls, and much the same. There's a lot of these carved, eye things, eyes all around you, all in different styles and patterns and all sorts of stuff. But eventually, this sort of goes away as you come to an area where the cave almost opens up a little wider, of now natural stone. And some of you trip accidentally on small rocks and things that lie on the ground. On the ground as well, you also see pickaxes, and chains, and manacles, and other such things. And you get the sense that you've now made it, eventually, after walking down this long corridor, which sort of does, you walk down it, and you take a left and a right, and you go down a spiral, and eventually you see this area of natural stone. As I said, where there's all these stones and stuff out of the way, and it definitely seems now more naturally carved. And the natural carving goes on for quite a while. It goes on for maybe, I don't know, about sort of, just a couple of minutes of walking, really, where all this stone has been sort of carved through, and you can see they've brought down wooden struts and wooden support beams and things that are up on top, and you can see many more carts filled with stones, and lots of smaller stones pushed to the very, very sides of this walkway. So you're basically walking down this alley where the stones aren't there. And the corners are very, very dark and very, very dusty in here, and you do end up coughing a little bit or trying to stifle coughs in this cavernous space. Once again, you don't seem to see anyone down here, and you can't hear anyone or anything either. And the fact that many manacles and many pickaxes are here and they're open. You think anyone that was here mining has now gone. You don't know where they've gone, but anyone who was here mining is not here anymore. And it's when you get to the end, you get to the very, very end of this, and suddenly it's not carved, jagged pieces of stone. Suddenly it's almost smooth, as if the stone has almost melted in a circle for the final push. Almost melted through some kind of acid. The stone has melted into a tunnel, into a carved stone tunnel, much the same as before.
Is there any light here? Or
no, there is no longer any light here.
can we hear anything from further down, or
Make a perception check. 9. No, you can't really hear much. It's oddly quiet. Except one thing you would all know and would all be able to hear is this strange, squidgy, fleshy noise. Like this almost strange, echoing, like, thrum of fleshy noises. It's very odd and it's very, very low, but as you continue through the area and you get to this sort of small, you almost get the sense, like, you know, you have 2 + 5, you know, intelligence wizards in the party, you get the sense that the miners made it so far, and then Rashak got very impatient and used his breath weapon to carve out the final bit into the rest of this tunnel. So you get the sense that this tunnel was collapsed down and the miners essentially carved out most of it. Rashak did the final, like, you know, maybe tiny little bit, and then pushed on. And then as you push on in and you go ahead into this regular, you know, carved space with stone bricks all around. Yeah?
I was going to say, can we make some sort of perception check to figure out what the source of this weird fleshy sucking noise is?
Well, you don't even need to make a perception check.
Oh, good.
Because as you head into this regular pathway, you step on something squidgy, and it's weird. And then Mazzy sort of holds a light down to it, and then to the walls, and then the ceiling, and then the floor, and growing all over this tunnel, this tomb, this vault of this corridor are like veins of flesh. It literally looks like veins of pulsating, tensing, constricting, contracting muscle.
God.
And veins of blood and tissue, living tissue.
So
Skin over it.
So a pathway has been cut out by people using mining tools.
Yeah.
And then, like a tunnel.
Yeah.
And then it's got to a point where the tunnel is smoothed off, so it looks like it's been burned by acid.
Yeah.
And then we've continued along that same tunnel.
Yeah.
And now it looks like there's flesh that has grown on top of the smoothed off bit.
Now it looks like you're back in the Tomb of Vecna, so now you've gone past the bit the miners dug out. You're now back on track, back in the vault, you know, back down the corridor that was, you know, here for ages and ages and ages. Smooth, like 20-foot by 20-foot square corridor, and there's strange veins of flesh and all sorts of stuff growing over the walls. So, corridor, mined out bit, tiny little opening that looks like it was like melted by Rashak's acid, and then corridor again. And now that you're in this corridor, there's all these like veiny, fleshy bits, and it's very, very strange. And blood does slightly gather in a few millimeters pooled on the floor. And the weirdest thing is, you're all looking around, and Mazzy holds his hand up to one slightly larger section of like congealed matter on the wall, and slowly opening, like it's not opened for, you know, many, many years. If the flesh is almost like peeling itself back, are eyelids, and an eye just pushes itself out and looks at all of you. Pinky red iris, large pupils, just staring at you. Just one eye. It looks at each of you, looks you up and down, and then goes back inside. And then in another place, on the right. Not one eye now, but 3, like a small cluster, open. And each of them blink and stare, look each of you up and down. They go back. And every time they do this, you can see the veins of flesh that connect to them almost like undulate and pulsate as if muscles are contracting and constricting to push them through and pull them back. This place got weird. Is there anything anyone would like to do?
Keep pushing on, I think.
Back up, leave, never come back again.
We've had a 75% success rate with Dragon Priest. That's good enough. Why can we never have an arc where we go on holiday?
Hey, some of them went on a nice, like cold trip to the north, and you guys have gone on a nice. You've gone to a nice jungle island.
We've gone on a cruise.
Yeah, to be fair,
Yeah, that's what
everything
I'm
is
doing.
better than the Underdark.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I think we just
Mining
push
corridor.
on. Is it like? Is it on the entire corridor?
Entire, like it's grown, almost like a spider web of these veins and stuff have grown everywhere. Floor, walls, ceiling, everywhere. There are, as I said, it's veins, so there are places you can step between them. But it's weird because obviously you're looking at them down on the floor, and you can see you'll be stepping over, and then suddenly an eye pops up and just stares at you from the floor. And then you look down at it and it disappears, then another one appears up there.
Is there any way to sort of determine, like, if this is, like, old or new in any way?
You can make like a medicine check or an arcana check, maybe? Either one.
I will go with Arcana.
Arcana. So, this definitely isn't natural. And obviously,
I'm shocked.
this is very, very strange. And with magic, I mean, you have no idea how to determine how old this stuff is. Especially, even from like a medicine point of view, you wouldn't be able to look at the flesh and say that is new or old. You've seen some of Rashak. He said he's a cleric. And Nasir, I mean, you don't know of any wizardly power that'd be able to do this. This is some very, very, very strange magic. But with the 21, you might be able to somewhat think, Eye of Vecna. What if, this, it's almost like this whole place, because some of these veins, they kind of remind you of the connection your eye has to your brain, the way they're kind of twisted around each other. What if the Eye of Vecna almost connected itself to this tomb and grew?
Oh,
And
that's
grew.
horrible.
Grew.
Oh, I do not want to think about where we're going with that
And
mental image.
growing.
Oramis thought that dragon eye that he got you to bejazzle was big.
Oh,
I was spent this whole time thinking it was going to be quite a nice little compact eye, but actually it's just this massive thing,
I mean,
the size of a beholder.
it would have to fit into a wizard. So
Vecna's got a big head.
Vecna might have a big
Vecna is like,
But really-
what is it, Modok?
Yeah. Anyway. So
We push
you
on
continue-
through the disgusting corridors, trying to
You
avoid
push on
stepping
through
on
the
the flesh.
disgusting corridor, and as you go through, it's hard to determine the splash of your footsteps on this slightly blood-soaked floor, and the sounds of all of this stuff all around you.
Can I
It's just this strange cacophony of really
Can I
awful sound.
experimentally jab it with the tip of a sword?
Yeah.
Oh.
Are you trying to do damage, or are you just
I'm not trying to just stab it, but I'm just sort of poking it hard enough that I know would hurt someone without potentially breaking the
say
skin.
1 point of damage sort of thing.
Yeah, just lightly, just sort of something that would hurt someone without necessarily breaking the skin, just to see how it reacts. But
Okay.
also ready to, if it does do something, to jump back very quickly.
Yeah. You take the point of your sword and you sort of stab into it, and you just hear this sound from it, and like the rest of the veins around it reminds you of the sound of like a stomach gurgling.
Oh, I don't like that at all.
And that noise.
I don't like the we're in a stomach and
all around.
Like, and then we're going to be fighting something full of acid. I swear to God, Ben, if we end up
It's
digested...
actually all one big pun. This is Ben's pun.
How is this a pun?
It's Ben's big joke then that we're going to in some sort of giant stomach with an acid dragon, and we're all going to die. And he's going to say, "You got digested, bitch."
No, there's definitely stone walls around. It's just they're covered in these veins of flesh and eyes and stuff. It's creepy, and you can see. And what's kind of weird is like to sort of like slightly confirm your point, because you got a pretty good passive perception. Like the walls and stuff, they're still carved with all these eyes and things like that, and it still looks like the corridors you've been going through, but they're like the walls like stained red, as if this stuff has been congealing blood for a very, very long time. Very, very long time. Very, very weird. Very, very creepy. And yet you push forward. You push forward, and you find that there is a T-junction. And you're not entirely sure where to go. There is no signage. There's no methodology or way forward. So you just pick a random direction.
Let's go to the right.
Once again, so you go right. You go right, and then there's another turning. But it keeps going straight on. Do you take it or no? You're not sure. And it's almost like this place starts becoming like a maze. Not like it. You don't think it's built like a maze. You can see several small rooms and alcoves and things, but this place definitely seems expansive, huge. And you guys have no idea where the fuck you're going down here. What way is a correct path, a wrong path, a dead end, whatever. And that brings us into our little card game that we've got going.
Is it Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yes, we're about to play some Yu-Gi-Oh. Duel!
It felt like we were going into the Shadow Realm.
Right, so...
I never thought the Shadow Realm would be so squishy.
Let me explain to you this card game. So, thank you to the amazing wizard online for coming up with this thing. It's really cool. So basically, this is what we do. So everyone, in a second, everyone's going to roll initiative. And that will be the order we go through this card game. Once you roll initiative, on your turn, you essentially get two things you can do. You can take an action, and you can take an action, and you can flip a card. The cards that you can flip are 1, 2, 3. You'll choose one of these cards to flip around. It's not quite as fancy as JJ did it with printed out cards and that looked all nice and shiny, but there we go. We're going with it. Now, go through the actions you can take. As you can see there on the little table down below, these are the actions that you can take. There are 5 of them. There are 4 of you. So every round, I'm going to roll a d10, and depending on which one it is, one of those are going to be crossed off. You can't use it. Also, once one has been used in the round, you can't use it again. So say, for example, Kaiman used Forge a Path. That means Felix can't use that same round. You will pick one of those, whichever thing you think serves your, you think you do well at. You roll it compared to the DC of the labyrinth, and if you succeed, then it goes to the action effect. For example, if you Forge a Path and you roll above the DC, 2 additional white cards are added to the discard pile. I'll explain what the different cards are in a minute. Scout ahead. You reveal the top card of the deck and the card in the river. The river is obviously this set of 3 cards here. It's elementary. You draw 3 cards from the deck, choose one, put it on the bottom of the deck, shuffle the remaining cards, put them on the top of the deck. Reveal 2 cards in the river and choose one. Or remove a dead end card from the game, draw a new card from the deck and place it down in the river. So these are the different things you can do, and you can see the associated check you need to make is listed next to it. So forge a path, you make a strength check, scout ahead, dex check, that sort of stuff, right? So now, obviously you do that, you see whether you succeed or you fail. And then you pick a card, and the different cards can do different things. Your objective is to get 5 right path cards. So can someone nominate themselves to be the person in charge of writing down how many right path cards you have?
Yeah, I can do that.
Cool. JJ, you're in charge of writing down how many right path cards you guys have. You need 5 of them. You need to pick out of this 3, 5. Right path cards, obviously. Get 5 of those, you win. There are dead end cards. Now, dead end cards. Actually, I'll go through dead end cards later on. There are encounter cards. Encounter cards can be anything from some strange puzzle to running into a trap to running into a small monster. You're not entirely sure. Rubber cards, and cards. I'm missing a card.
Traps, monsters, right path, dead end.
I'm replacing trap with encounter.
Yeah.
So
okay.
encounter just works everything. Monster cards. Monster cards. You do not want these cards. If you collect 2 monster cards, you go into a fight. You've stumbled upon something. Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be a fight, but you've stumbled upon a big scary thing. Could be a monster, could be a trap, could be some other thing, but it will be a big, larger, more deadly encounter. Obviously, that is not what you want. So we've done right path, we've done encounter, we've done monster. Now finally, we go to the final one, which is dead end cards. Dead end cards basically mean, you find a dead end, you need to go back, you need to figure out where you're going to go. And essentially what that does is, you would, say for example, you pick this left-hand card here, and it was a dead end card. You would flip that card and keep it there. So then the next person, instead of having 3 cards to pick from, they only get 2 cards to pick from. And if the next person picked another dead end card, the person after them would only have 1 card to pick from. If that person picked the dead end card, if all dead end cards are picked, another monster card is added to the whole pile. So you don't automatically get a monster card to pick, but the chances of you getting a monster card are higher. I think it's probably just a lot better if we go through it, run through it, and you guys will get how to play as we go in. So, can everyone roll the initiative? This initiative, by the way, will also be what we use if we go into combat. So, whatever one you roll here, if there's, say, a combat that goes on, instead of all just rolling initiative again and going through all that malarkey, we will just go straight into the combat.
Do you want an initiative for Mazzy, just assuming he's not taking an action in the card game? So he can be in combat initiative.
Yeah. Roll it for the combat initiative, but so far it's only you 4 playing the card game. And this will sort of symbolize you 4 doing all this stuff. Everyone else is, Mazzy's holding the light and he's taking direction. Vaishal is, very, keeping very, Vaishal is trying to, holding lightning, basically, trying to, he's very freaked out. And Ponsky is, even though he's a massive werewolf, he's trying to stay away from too much blood. He's really not having a good time. So
Felix first on 15, then Mazzy is the second roll on a 17.
Cool. So Gylndan, then
I rolled for Felix, so I assume that's not part of the game, but then part of the combat initiative.
You rolled for Felix?
Did I say Felix? I meant my boy, Nathan.
He just goes after you anyway in combat. He
does now because he rolled well.
He did. So we've got Gylndan, then
Mr. Newcomer.
Then
Come on, Kim Dog.
Kim Dog. That's a new one.
Get above 19 and ruin Oramis' day. Oh, you fucking idiot. You fucking idiot. What did I tell you?
So, it goes Gylndan, Oramis, Felix, and Simon.
I reckon that Kyman's just never heard of what a labyrinth is, so he's just too busy trying to figure out what that word even means.
Yeah, Kaiman, this is obviously very, very different to anything you've ever seen before in your life. This is it's fleshy, and it's weird, and it's gross, and it's just not good. So,
Simon has accepted that this could all just be a bad dream.
Just
you know
like-
what? That is
After the dragon shit, maybe. Who knows?
maybe you died, and this is just hell. Maybe that's it. It's a lot of wizards and fancy magic and hallways of guts and gore. Right, so, Gylndan, you're up first. So first of all, pick an action. Forge of Path, scout ahead. It's elementary, careful consideration, or boost morale. Now,
I believe it's elementary.
excellent. Now remember, once you've picked one of these actions, it can't be used by anyone else in the round.
Hmm.
So if you pick its elementary, Felix then also can't do that. If you were to pick Forge of Path, they then can't do that. So have a think about what you're good at, and also what your teammates are good at as well, because you're someone's trying to work together here.
I'm not good at anything else, and I imagine Felix probably is. So
yeah, my best two are It's Elementary or Forge a Path.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ben, which option was scrubbed this round?
I will let you know as I roll a
Don't-
d20.
please don't be fucking. It's elementary.
Sorry, it's not a d20, it's a d fucking 10. So 1, 2's Forge of Path, 3, 4, Scout Ahead. Yeah. Scout Ahead is disabled this round.
Okay.
It was just a straight intelligence roll, yeah.
Yes, please.
22.
22. Right, so that is a success. So it's elementary. Draw 3 cards from the deck. Choose one, put it on the bottom of the deck. Shuffle the remaining cards, put them on the top of the deck. See, this is where things get a little complicated, and my original idea doesn't work, and I'm going to have to drag out the rest of the deck. But that is fine. That is my original plan.
This is why I ended up printing it all off, and you guys looked at my hands for half an hour while we did this, rather than my face, so I had all the cards laid out on the deck.
Yeah, I tried that. I tried that quickly last night before we did our D&D. And firstly, I couldn't get very good cards. And the cards I did get, when I wrote on them in marker, like big enough so you could see, it showed up on the back of them.
That's not good.
So that didn't exactly.
Yeah, I haven't. These are printed on. It took me ages to print them because the printer wouldn't accept the card paper. Like it wouldn't draw it in, so I had to like feed it into the printer as it was trying to suck it in.
Right. Yeah, so I've gone with this way. Might be a little bit awkward, but we'll get through it. So, it's elementary. Draw 3 cards from the deck, choose one, put it on the bottom of the deck, shuffle the remaining cards in, place them on the top. So, draw 3 cards. So, here will be your 3 cards you get to draw. I'm going to move that a little bit more over. And they are flip card, a right path, another right path, an encounter. So pick one of them to put on the bottom of the deck. And
Is it the bottom of the deck that I just picked up from?
Yeah.
So I should probably put encounter at the bottom of the deck.
Probably yes. So then you
And then
so then
the other
you'll
two
encounter
just-
that much later on.
So the other two just go back in the deck as well.
Yeah, they will just go. They will just get shuffled back in.
They go on top,
Oh yes, they go on top. Sorry.
so we have a good chance of drawing them in the next round.
Indeedy. Flip card. Stick these on top. And now.
Oh wait, so you just shuffle those two and then put them on top of the deck?
Yeah.
I wonder which one I'll pick.
I put those 2 in the top of the deck. Now, out of these 3 that are in front of you, which one do you pick?
Oh, did I pick one of these?
Yeah. Now you pick one of these.
You always go. Well, you don't. When you don't know whether to go left or right, you always go down the middle.
You going down the middle?
Yep. Fucking dick bags.
One monster card. So, Gylndan, you're walking down this long corridor. Like, obviously, everyone's walking down this corridor, but you think you hear something. And you think, oh, wait, this corridor looks corridor looks a little more prominent than the rest. If I was making this is the kind of corridor that leads toward the end. I'll walk down this way, and as you all begin to walk down, you feel fairly confident in Gylndan's, logic. But you do just hear this from way down the corridor. You steel your nerves and you continue on. So, flip that card. Put all 3 of these in the discard pile. And we get the next ones in. So, who's up next? Oramis. Oramis. What would you like to pick? Your Forge of Path, Careful Consideration, or Boost Morale?
Boost morale, please.
I will
There
say
we go.
Boost Morale isn't very useful right now because there are no dead end cards in the river. So it's
Okay.
not really much there.
Careful
you can,
consideration.
I'll say you can still do it, but you won't need to make a roll with it. Like if you would rather your friends do something like use Careful Consideration or Forge a Path, you can just say you boost morale, but there's nothing to boost at the minute, and let them roll them
Yeah.
later, or you can take a chance on your stuff now.
I'm still pretty wisdomous, so I'll go for careful consideration.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, roll me a Wisdom check then.
This is where we find out I'm not wisdomous at all. And something's just popped up on my screen and I can't get to my character sheet.
Those pollen links.
I keep telling them that I'm not interested in the hot, sexy singles, but
18.
They just keep coming up, am I right?
So yeah, reveal 2 cards in the river this turn and choose 1. So which 2 would you like to reveal?
left and right.
Left and right. That one's left. That one's right.
Make a good choice, Luke.
Choose 1.
The right one.
The right one. Fantastic. You now have 2 right path cards. No, sorry. You've picked 1 right path card. JJ, would you then say that he gets to pick another from this now? At like the whole point of careful consideration.
My interpretation was you choose 2 cards from the river, and then you pick from those cards, and that's your draw from the river.
So that's your draw from the river, right? So that is
I mean,
Oramis.
you could argue that if they were both like shitty options, he could go for the 3rd one and gamble on
That's
that.
true.
Like if they were both traps or something.
I'm Gucci.
Yeah, that is true. All right, so you guys now have 1 right path card and 1 monster. Let's see how you do. I will say these were all shuffled by the computer, so don't blame me if something goes wrong. Next up, we have Felix.
Okay.
Felix, your Forge a Path or Boost Morale?
How charisma are you? How charismatic are you, Carmen? On a scale of 0 to 20.
18.
18. Okay, you are much more charismatic than I am. I
On
will
your
go
charisma?
for.
Oh no, sorry, not charisma. My charisma's 7.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure.
What's
my
okay?
strength.
If I remember rightly, Kaiman's not very strong either.
Oh, good.
I'm
Yeah, but
big,
he must be stronger than he is charismatic.
yeah.
But if I don't draw a dead end, then we don't need to clear one. So I think it might be better if I forge a path, get 2 additional right path cards into the deck, and
And then you gamble, Simon.
and then gamble, because we potentially
Okay.
won't even have to clear a dead end with Kaiman.
Alrighty.
So I think I will do that.
Cool. Roll me a strength check. 24. Fantastic. 2 additional right path cards from, to the discard pile from outside the game. Isn't it convenient that I have 2 such cards to add into the discard pile from outside the game? That discard pile, by the way, will then be brought back in as your main deck once all of this deck has been used. So that's how that sort of works into the game.
Yeah.
So later on, obviously,
So,
you've now got 2 more right path cards.
yeah, I mean, the instructions for the like standard deck, Ben might have shifted the number of cards, is 5 right path cards out of about, I think it's 20 cards total.
15 cards total.
15 cards total. So now we've got 7, potentially 7 out of 17 cards are what we want.
Except I don't have 15 cards in this deck.
Fair enough.
I have slightly adjusted it because you're on level 14.
Makes sense.
Yeah, 14. Okay, you're 14.
Cool. Okay. I will follow the wise Gylndan's advice. When you don't know which way to go straight down the middle.
Go straight down the middle.
Oh,
And it's a good
yes.
option.
Works for you.
All
That
right.
is 2 right path cards.
2/5 of the way
collected
there.
for the boys. 2/5 of the way there. Can't wait for you guys to just immediately get this and we go into the Rashak fight. Can't wait for it. Cool. Finally, Kaiman. Now, the only one left is boost morale. There is no morale to boost. There is no dead end card in the river. So I will say instead, just pick a card. Pick one of these 3 cards.
The middle one.
Oh, he
The-
knows.
The middle
He
one.
knows.
He knows.
Oh,
But sadly, the man doesn't quite know enough. So here's the situation. So you're all walking down, and Felix has pushed through like this fleshy stuff in one place, congeals literally over one another, just right in the middle of a corridor, and makes like its own like sort of like webbing wall, and Felix pushes through that, and Oramis sort of like just takes a little bit of time to consider where you're going. Actually, guys, I think we should go this way, and it does end up being the right way. And you eventually move on, and you end up in this long corridor. And there's a turning just on your right. You make it to the turning, and you see in front of you it's a 30 feet by 30 feet by 30 feet room, like a big, basically cube room, 30 feet long, 30 feet wide, 30 feet tall. You were about 5 feet back from this on the turning. So imagine you're 35 feet away from the farthest end of the room. You turn the corner, and you see the opening on the far end of the room. The room is a plain, open, square room. You can maybe see like remnants of like old, like plinths and stools and stuff in here, but like the veins of flesh have just like congealed over them and pulled them and almost crushed them down to the ground. So you can just see like little bits of wood and little sort of lumps where the flesh has sort of gone over. So this room is now pretty much empty, we'll say. 30 feet by 30 feet by 30 feet. And on the other side, as you sort of turn the corner, you can see a way forward. You step into the room. Suddenly, you hear this, and veins cover the entranceway as you step into the room. Everyone make a perception check. For those of you without dark vision, this would be a disadvantage.
it no matter.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Most of you are pretty good, and you're all sort of like looking around, and you're thinking like, what the hell happened? What happened? And you look up, and you see this huge eye, about 5 foot radius, like 10 feet by 10 feet high, and with its pinky red iris and black pupil, it is staring down beadily at you. Such a stare that the pupil is unmoving, but the iris and the whole eye around it are sort of almost like vibrating, like giving you like the hardest stare it possibly can. If it could pull out of the wall and get closer to you, it would. And as it's staring at you, you can see veins from the back of it, like constricting. And particularly with some of your perception checks, which are pretty decent, particularly you, Felix, you can see that these constricted veins almost go around and attach to where the flesh has almost gone over this door. Do you get the sense that because this eye has seen you, it has closed the way forward? Once you take a step back into the corridor that you were in, and round the corner, the way opens up again.
Oh, so it's like a security system.
Some strange security system created by whatever this is. What would you all like to do?
Is there a way we can cover ourselves? Not easily, we're too big a group, aren't we?
Yeah.
I'll say for the purposes of this, don't worry too much about like Vaishal and Ponsky and Mazzy and stuff. So long as you guys are through, I'm happy to just...
I mean, I have the most disgusting idea, which is to use fabricate to basically make like a tent we can walk inside of this stuff and just try and go through that way.
That sounds gross.
Yeah, it sounds real fucking grim.
Yeah, as you say that, like...
I don't really want to do that, but it's an idea.
Nathan
There's
ordered
still words on the inside.
I will make a flesh. I could make a flesh, potentially make a flesh tent.
Is there any light in here?
No, the only light in here is Mazzy's British flame.
So I can see us in the dark.
It seemingly can see you in the dark.
What if,
And
well,
most of you,
if we test that
most of you,
by
as you
having
You
Mazzy...
can't see the other side.
What did you say, Ben? Sorry?
If you don't have dark vision, you can't actually see the other side of the room.
Can we test that? If we have Mazzy wait or like put out his light and someone with dark vision enters the room trying to sneak across it, does the eye automatically see them even without light?
Why not?
Yeah. Mazzy will sort of like, almost like just like, he puts out his light. One of you walks through. Which one of you is going to walk through?
I volunteer as tribute.
Alright. You take a few steps into the room. And as it's now dark, you step into the room and you hear the... and you look ahead and see the way it's closed. And you look up and see the very, very faint glow of the pinky red iris. As if it's sort of like slightly glowing in the dark. Giving you a somewhat hint that, yeah, maybe this thing does have a little bit more magical property to it than you thought, and it maybe can see a little bit different.
Alright, well, theory confirmed. That's fine. Seems like we either need like a physical disguise, like some sort of disguise, to make us appear not as we are, or we destroy the eye.
I would also say there is a very, very brief moment as you turn the corner where, in the dark this is, a very, very brief moment, maybe like a second or two, maybe just enough to maybe get off the spell, where the door stays open before it things. Almost like it needs to take about maybe half a second to almost like turn on its dark vision or adjust. Maybe just enough to get off some kind of spell, if you needed a spell with line of sight to that. Just so that you're all aware not to necessarily limit your options.
I think, do we just try and destroy it? Or is that going to permanently shut it?
It's
How
sealing
blocked
off
is
the way.
it?
We haven't tried to force our way through
Yeah, how blocked up is
the
the
opening
doorway?
just yet.
Blocked up enough so you can't see the other side. If you were to take a guess or a gamble, maybe like a foot and a half of this fleshy, strange substance. And it's packed in tight as well. It's like, as the flesh goes over, the muscles tense to look like it creates a pretty solid surface. It looks pretty solid, but so do many other doors that you just passed through.
Oramis, shoot the eye.
With these?
Yes.
Alright.
We'll stand back as he shoots it from the doorway.
Yeah.
Alright. You'll stand back. Oramis, you shoot it from the doorway. Roll to hit.
That's one. That's two. Do you want a third?
Yeah.
Have it. That's a third. There you go.
Great.
Can't wait for Ben to be like, that does nothing.
I'm hoping he says it does nothing because I'm also worried something worse will happen.
Give me 1 second here. I'm just going to put something on so I can...
Well, things that use eyes in D&D as a key feature are notoriously unpleasant to fight. Is all that I'm thinking of.
Oh god. How
What's
much?
that?
Someone help me track damage.
21. If the 12 hits, 35.
Well, the 12 doesn't hit,
So 21.
so 21. Okay, so Aramis, you fire up these 3 blasts. They light up the room with this, I believe you said, like purplish, sort of like wobbling eldritch energy. It fires up. The first one, it slightly sort of like, it almost the eye like pulls itself back into the flesh a little bit, and you hit the side of the flesh. But then the next one smashes into the front, and then the next one smashes into the side, and it just like there's just this like splash of strange like oozy liquid. And for a very brief second, it does nothing. But then, almost like something, you almost get this like peeling noise. That's like, and this long tendril, this long vein of flesh whips down, and I believe a 26 hits you.
Yes.
So, grabs you with this tendril, pulls you up. So all just within this brief moment, like Oramis fires out, and he goes, "Oh, nothing." Grabs you, pulls you, because once you're grabbed, you're grappled. You're then pulled 25 feet into the air.
I really wish I'd picked up that thing that meant I can't be grappled.
On this quote-unquote turn. Is there anything anyone else would briefly like to do? So say if we're going into sort of like somewhat turn order, we'll go
Kaiman, because he encountered the thing?
Yeah. Kaiman, you've just seen Oramis, like you've just been stood on the edge of this, and you've seen Oramis get pulled up into the air by this strange tendril, and all of a sudden there's this noise. And Oramis, as you look back, the dark vision pulling out of the flesh, almost like revealing itself out of the flesh around the edges of the eye, are these strange, like, teeth. And the gums that pull around them. And they're almost forming this weird mouth, as if the eyelids of this eye are now growing teeth to bite you. Simon, you're the first to react to this. What would you like to do? It is now technically in combat.
I should have.
I mean, do you know what's nicer than cooked crab? Cooked Vecna's eye.
It's like a big boiled egg.
I think that always gets me on like a. I'm sorry to get me out of here. It's like the crunch of the eye when they eat fish eyes.
Yeah.
Like the pop.
Yeah. What you doing, Kaiman? Oramis is up. He's giving the thing like half cover, but yeah. What you doing?
I guess I just run at it.
It's 30 feet in the air. It's 30 feet on the ceiling.
Okay, yeah. I forgot. Oh, javelin ain't so good. Develop options. That's 1d6. This is. Where's it gone? I throw a javelin at it.
All right. Roll to hit with the javelin. 17. 17 does in fact hit. Roll the damage.
Ugh.
4 damage.
I don't
Throw up a javelin just into the side, and it sort of sticks into the fleshy stuff on the side, and it just once again, it's like strangely screeches. Next up, we have Gylndan. Gylndan, Oramis has just gone pulled out of the way. You can kind of run into the room and throw a javelin, or at least like take a step forward so they can see it. Throw a javelin. You're like 5 foot behind, like round the corner from it. It can't necessarily see you at the minute. But you've just seen Oramis, like, just get pulled upwards. Actually, no, you wouldn't have seen anything because Mazzy put his light out, so it's completely dark.
What's happening?
You just heard Oramis just go, "Whoa!" And then Timon throw something up into the ceiling.
Do you have that thing that gives you dark vision sometimes?
Yeah, I do, but I was waiting to see if maybe it could be used for something else.
Okay, fair enough.
So I'm around the corner, can't actually see anything.
Uh-huh.
I'm just not going to move, am I? I might, if I like sat against the door or the wall, if I can feel the wall, would I hear what happened? I mean, Oramis always screams.
You heard a strange peeling noise, then something sort of like, almost like attached to someone near you.
Yeah, and then a
just go,
Wilhelm scream.
Whoa! Yeah, very much like Wilhelm scream. Oramis being pulled up. Or, yeah, like you would have heard his voice suddenly go up in the cabin and just echo all around you in this completely pitch black space.
I think I might like just turn around the corner and just prestidigitation. Just like a shower of sparks and maybe see if the eye looks at it. I don't know if it'd be big enough for me to see that, but
yeah, prestidigitation, that would maybe be like 10 feet at most light. So you just sort of like create. I mean, like you would know that from having prestidigitation. Have a more permanent light like that would be something like light or dancing light or something like that. Prestidigitation, you can just make like a small spark.
You say Mazzy doesn't have his.
Mazzy doesn't have it. I mean, you could hold your action for when Mazzy pulls out his thing again.
Yeah. Why did he turn it off?
Because you don't see what would happen if someone went through with dark vision.
Alright. Would he not have turned it back on again after?
He would when it gets to his turn.
As time's not passed in between that?
Well, no, because Oramis went out, he shot the thing, then it went and pulled Oramis up.
No, I'm saying we tried to get through in the dark before it took up Oramis, before Oramis shot it. So it would not make sense that Mazzy would turn his light back on again.
I guess so. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, yeah, you did try and go out and nothing happened. And then Oramis shot it. So I'll leave that down to you guys, judgment. Whether he would or wouldn't have.
I mean, I feel like if there any source of light, he definitely would have.
Yeah, if Oramis was going to shoot it, he probably would have lit up another light to make it as easy as possible to see.
Okay, in which case, like, Mazzy is still round the corner, but his light would ebb in just enough so that it can be dim light, and therefore you would just about maybe see. You like if you were to take a gander in, you would just about see what's happening in the very, very dim light of what's happening up on the ceiling. And see Oramis sort of like hung there with this strange veiny tendril wrapped around his waist, up on the ceiling.
Can I see the eye?
Oramis is giving it pretty hefty cover, but yeah, you can just about see it.
Is it within 60 feet of me?
Yes.
I'm gonna toll the dead.
Toll the dead.
It's like a
Alrighty.
wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom saving throw.
DC 19.
Yeah, that was an 11.
And it's already taken damage, so it will take the
That's indeed.
worst of these two rolls. Which actually, it's always funny when it's worse, isn't it? 8 damage, and then I'll come back around the corner.
And then you pull
Oh,
up.
cheers.
I'm trying, bro.
Oramis, you are now being held by a strange veiny tendril of stuff. You're not entirely sure what. You can use your action to make a check against it, try and break the grapple. It is effectively grappling and restraining you, actually. So you can make a strength check with disadvantage as your action, or you can do whatever else you want to do.
Could I make an attack roll against it to try and sever the...
Against the tendril? Yeah, absolutely can. It is moving around a lot, so in the thing, so it's going to be fairly hard to hit, but...
I'm guessing it's wrapped around me though, right?
Oh yeah, it is also wrapped around you, but you're also being dragged in the air, oh, and so to not hit yourself is going to be a bit of a thing as well. But you can certainly try, absolutely.
Okay.
You are Oramis, after all. Lone hand.
Alright. Can I start off with a bonus action
Yeah.
and do a little concealed blade action?
Concealed blade, what? Just on the thing wrapped around you?
Well, I'm guessing it's wrapped around me and then comes out, so I'd kind of like to grab it and try and go.
It's wrapped around you and pulled around your back, you're facing the floor.
Oh, okay.
Pulled you
Wow.
backwards. So you can. It would be with disadvantage, but you certainly can.
Well, I'll go a bit
Go
around
the
me.
waist, which wouldn't
Yeah. The bit around me then, around my waist.
Yeah, sure. But if you do miss with this, you do have the slight thing of cutting yourself. You won't be a lot of damage, but might slightly cut yourself.
That's fine.
Roll to hit.
I don't miss.
Yeah, that absolutely hits. 9 damage. Oh, not quite enough, I'm afraid. You slash at this tendril, which doesn't seem to. As you slash at the tendril, the whole wall on the whole thing doesn't seem to gurgle and make that strange noise like the rest of it did when the main part was hit. You almost get the sense that these tendrils are somewhat extensions of itself. But 9 damage, not quite enough, but it's literally holding on by a tiny thread. It's literally holding you by the tiniest thread.
Could I then take an action to break free of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say with the damage you've done to the tendril, it would no longer be with disadvantage, but it is a straight strength check to just physically rip it off you and be freed.
Oh, for God's sake!
Rubbish.
You've cut at it and you're trying, but it's just so slippery. It is
I should
really
have just
slippery.
attacked it again.
Just hard not to. It's extremely hard not to. Your hands are just slipping all around. You're being lashed back and forward. Sadly, not quite your day. Next up, funnily enough, is it, where no one else stepped into the corridor, right? I believe everyone said that.
Are NPCs involved in this?
NPCs, I'm going to say, as this is a very, very quick thing that's happening, they're all at the back, and they're not quite reactive enough to...
Okay, no, so it's fine, just because Gylndan's had his go, so if they're not, then Nathan would have...
Just for sort of Nathan's slightly retching at everything that's going on.
The mention of a flash tent.
Vaishal was watching her back. Ponsky was also staying back a little bit because he's aware he's very, very big, and him splashing on the wetness is making a lot of noise. But yeah, it's its thing. It can't see any of you, so it's just gonna pull Oramis in, and the sort of eyelid teeth are gonna slightly elongate out and go for a bite. And that is a 19 to hit you, Oramis.
That hits.
I wasn't sure whether a 19 or 18 was your AC. Cool. So there's... Oh, you got lucky with these rolls, man. That is 16 points of piercing damage. As you're bitten by this thing, and it just like chomps down at your back, essentially trying to engulf you and pull you in. You are now like literally right on it. You can feel the slime, like that layer of slime that's on the eye, like you're just being pulled and pressed against it. These teeth like sinking into you. But I guess if no one else is pushing into the room, that's pretty much all it's going to be doing on his turn, just biting and eating against Oramis. Next up would be, we'll include Mazzy in this. He's one of the OG peeps, so yeah, and he's up at the front with his fire. So
okay,
what would Mazzy like?
Mazzy will pull out a torch, use his produce flame to light the torch so he can still see, and then for his action throw the produce flame at the tentacle to try and get it to drop Oramis. But then he's still got the torch for light.
Yeah, I'll say like pull out the torch. That's his interaction. I'd say lighting the torch is like a bonus action, and then action to fling it. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so produce flame. 17.
17 just hits.
All right. 15 fire damage.
Roll it again.
Okay.
Doesn't like fire.
There we go. 16 fire damage.
Someone's been practicing.
31 total.
31 total. As he flings this flame up, it hits and it slightly spreads along the side of the thing. And there's just this cacophonous, thunderous, echoing gurgle that just echoes throughout the room, and it hurts your ears extremely bad. Your ears are now ringing with this horrid, horrid noise. And for any of you pressed up against the sides of the walls, the veins all along the walls warble and vibrate and constrict and all sorts of like strange stuff. And all of you can also see like many of the eyes just popping in and out, and it clearly does not like fire. Clearly. But that is Mazzy's turn. Mazzy
does that
where he is,
make it drop Oramis?
That does not make it drop Oramis.
Okay.
God damn.
Was he aiming at the tendril, or was he aiming at
he was aiming for the tendril to try and get it to drop Oramis.
Oh, okay. I would say aiming at the tendril, that does still hit, which means it does 1 point of damage, and then Oramis drops.
Well,
that was
that's...
the HP from the tendril.
Does it still react in the same way to the fire?
Slightly. You can see like the tendril like burns up and then just like flails about, and there is a slight like clearly, but as I've said, this tendril is clearly like somewhat of a separate entity to the main thing, and so it doesn't seem as bothered, but the rest of the surrounding area clearly is somewhat bothered. But Oramis, you four, can you make me an acrobatics check?
Yeah. Oh, that's terrible.
Alright, fall 25 feet and take 8 points of damage. 8 points of bludgeoning.
Oh, you've not had a good
as
30 seconds.
Fall flat, like, actually, 15's actually pretty good. And 25 feet, Oramis is a pretty spry guy. You take 4 points of damage.
Thanks.
Pretty spry for a dead guy.
You land, you fall slightly, like, you land and manage to
Bet you don't
roll a
notice.
little hard on your shoulder. It's just enough to, like, maybe, like, slightly just stretch it way too hard, and as you roll back up, you're not on your feet, you won't be landing prone, you manage to roll back and land fine, but you have just slightly hurt your shoulder a little bit. You're fine. Next up, we go to Felix. Felix, what would you like to do?
Should I try and get a pathway through the door, or should I go for the eye?
Pathway through the door, because we can just leave it behind. It's not mobile.
Okay. I will rush into the room, and I will go to the other side of the room and pull out my sword and just try and basically just start like trying to cut a path, so like physically like cut open this opening.
Okay. Roll to hit.
Absolutely, Drax inside that monster in Guardians too.
Yeah, I'm getting Drax vibes.
Alright. 17.
17 will do it. You start slashing against it. Roll some damage.
Okay, 7 on the first attack.
7. As you're going for the door that these sort of strange veins are attached to, you see the veins slightly constrict, and as its reaction, it's going to make a tendril attack against you because you're going for the door. But that is a 19 to hit you.
Yeah, that'll hit Felix at the moment. Should have started singing.
You are now grappled.
I'm
and
now
restrained.
grappled.
You are now grappled as this other tendril just extremely quickly wraps around you
Okay.
and like your arms a little bit as well. So you are.
Am I pulled into the air as well, or am I still on the floor?
No, not pulled into the air just at this minute. That
Okay.
reaction.
To try and prevent that happening, I'm going to, for my second attack, cast Green Flame Blade on this.
Okey-dokey.
Fire damage. Oh no, I need to roll to hit normally, don't I? And then it deals additional damage, doesn't it?
You do, yes.
So 29 to
Because
hit the
you're-
tendril, and then
Because you're restrained, it is with disadvantage.
I'm restrained. I thought I was only grappled.
No, it wraps around you and slightly wraps up your arms. You're restrained.
Oh, fucking dick. Okay. 22.
22 still gets it.
Alright. So 14 damage plus 6 fire damage plus 9 fire damage to the door if I'm still within 5 feet of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So 6 fire damage. Roll me another 2d8.
Another green flame blade.
Yeah, tendril immediately fizzles away, and the door takes 25 points of damage as 32. The door definitely like begins to burn away, and just like a lot of the flesh around the burning just recedes and pulls back, like just physically like tries to pull back. There's probably now enough space for you to crawl through. Not anyone bigger, you're a small guy. So,
Yeah.
but you're certainly making headway. Another hit like that, and you're probably through.
Okay. I will then bonus action pull out a dagger and just try and stab the door.
Okie dokie.
18.
18, that's it.
Without strength modifier, so that's a 6. 6 damage.
6 damage. Alrighty. We'll just finish out this. We'll finish out this round. So, Kaiman, you are once again back up at the quote-unquote end of the round.
Sorry, Ben, I
what
completely
was
forgot to track
your-
it. What damage did I take when it tried to? Did I take any damage when it grabbed me?
You did not.
Okay.
It just wraps around and grabs.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Cool. Kaiman, what would you like to do? You've seen that the door is partially open. Fire has considerably hurt it. And fire has considerably hurt the eye thing up there as well, which is like warbling around, and many more tendrils are slowly being pulled and peeled from the ceiling.
I sacred flame the eye.
Sacred Flame does radiant damage, not fire
Ah,
damage,
damn it.
just to let you know.
They need to change the name.
They really
wait,
do. It doesn't make sense.
Oh, wait, is this a shooting thing or is this
It's
Nope.
sacred fire, isn't it? So it's...
Cool to call it Sacred Light.
yeah. Okay, so
Doesn't
that
sound as attacky
throws
though.
throws my plan out the window. I've got all these abilities to make weapons fire.
Can you bonk the door to try and open
I
that
want
with fire damage?
that is exactly what I can do with my fire weapon. Yes.
Just
Okay.
try and get us through and out.
You absolutely could. So if you
Right.
wanted to run across and then try and bonk the door.
Yes. Do I miss the door?
No, an 18 hits the door, in fact.
Go,
Okay.
Carmen.
Roll damage. 8 bludgeoning
Get
damage.
that fire.
7. But now roll another 2d8. 10, 17. You watch as Chiron just runs up, and instead of like a bonk, it's more just like a straight punch. But in the darkness of 30 on the other side of this room, his fist slightly glows with like a warm light, punches through it, and then all of this, like all the rest of this, this like strange fleshy substance just, and you hear the entire room become like some strange alien stomach gurgle. The rest of the door sort of opens up, and for the sake of expediency, we'll say that I'm assuming now everyone would like to run towards the door, as the door is now open. That damage was enough to do it.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Fantastic. So we would go Kaiman, you're through. Gylndan, you run through. Nathan runs through. Oramis runs through. Then it would be its go, but at this point no one is there, so it holds its action to wait for people to go through. Then Mazzy goes through, see if it can hit Mazzy. It can't hit Mazzy with a 2, so that's like 9 to hit. So it goes down, Mazzy just bats away the tendril, runs through. Felix, you run through, it can make 4 tendril attacks, so it's just gonna try with tendrils. That's a 12 to hit you, Felix. That misses. And for the sake of expediency, everyone else manages to get through. As these tendrils are left like reaching out towards the door that you're at, and it's kind of strange as you like look back and you see this strange flesh just almost like clawing itself back and pulling itself back to reform the door, like strange flesh that's sort of like almost slugging and moving on its own like some strange slug and pulling itself and peeling itself back together. But you've made it past this encounter. However, because you didn't make it, because you pushed through the area and attacked the door rather than making it through without the door realizing you're there, another monster card is added to the deck total. To the discard pile. Sorry. So you've made it through this one encounter, but as you get through, you can once again hear this like warbling noise from the other side, and you're slightly concerned as to where things are moving and whether this strange miasma of stuff can change the pathways of corridors and all that stuff. It's
I hate
very,
it so
very
much.
strange.
It's so gross.
But I will say that was Kaiman to pick that, so we are at the end of the round anyway. So there we go. We're at the end of the round, and we'll pick up with the rest of this next time. We'll pick up with the rest of this little card game. How do you guys find it so far? Seem alright? Seem too basic?
Yeah,
Seem
I
a bit
mean,
weird?
all good for me. I've run it, so I'm a little bit more familiar with it than everyone else is. So, but I think it's gone pretty smoothly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right. I mean, we've only done one round of it, so.
Yeah, of course. Everyone's only had like one quick little try.
Yeah,
at it,
we've done one round and we're 2/5 of the way there, so we're doing pretty good.
I mean, yeah, like it like I personally think this is certainly better than me having a massive map and you guys slowly moving your tokens through it. Like, certainly maybe a tiny bit better than that.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how it plays out with the rest of it, and sort of how quickly we make progress.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you all very, very much for joining this week. As I said, we'll finish this off and maybe even face Rashak and possibly even the Seer next time. Once we finish this up, we'll see how you guys do and how you end up facing this. And hey, you found out who Vaishal was. That was somewhat unexpected. Didn't think you guys would find that out this early. Good job. But yeah, so we're not on for next week. Sam, you're away. But the week after,
Back on the 5th.
which should be good. Back on the 5th. Cool.
Cool. I will see you boys then.
You guys. Yeah. See you guys there.
Yeah, everyone.
See ya.
Have a good one, guys.
Bye.
Bye.